Aries, August 2026 begins with a feeling that is difficult to explain but impossible to ignore. Something is changing beneath the surface of your life, and although you may not immediately understand what it means, the signs become clearer as the month unfolds. A conversation may return to your mind, a person from the past may suddenly reappear, a financial opportunity may arrive unexpectedly, or you may simply wake up one morning with the powerful realization that you no longer want to continue living according to an old version of yourself. This is not an ordinary month. August carries the energy of transition, and for you, Aries, that transition is connected to decisions that could influence the direction of your work, money, relationships, social life, and personal future. You may begin the month searching for answers, but you are likely to end it with something much more valuable: clarity. If this reading speaks to you, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because August has many layers to uncover, and your story is only beginning. As the first days of August arrive, you may feel a mixture of ambition and restlessness. You want movement, progress, and results, yet some circumstances may refuse to move as quickly as you would like. This can test your patience, especially because you naturally prefer to act rather than wait. But there is a hidden purpose behind the slower moments of this month. August is teaching you that not every delay is a rejection and not every closed door is a failure. Sometimes life slows you down because something needs to change before you can move forward. You may find yourself reconsidering an old goal, questioning whether a certain responsibility is still worth carrying, or thinking about a future that looks completely different from the one you imagined before. Do not be afraid of those thoughts. They are not signs that you are lost. They are signs that you are evolving. Your professional life becomes one of the most important areas of August. You may begin looking at your career from a different perspective, especially if you have recently felt that your work is not giving you enough recognition, stability, freedom, or satisfaction. Something you once accepted as temporary may suddenly feel permanent, and that realization could motivate you to make a change. However, the planets are encouraging you to think strategically rather than impulsively. If you are considering changing jobs, starting a project, developing a business idea, or learning a new skill, do not rush simply because you are tired of your current situation. Build your next step carefully. There is a strong possibility that something from your past can become useful again. An old skill, former colleague, unfinished project, previous experience, or idea that you once abandoned may return with new potential. What looked like a dead end may reveal itself as preparation. You may finally understand that the experience you gained from previous disappointments was not wasted. It was quietly preparing you for an opportunity you were not ready to recognize before. Money is another important theme throughout August. Your financial situation may not transform overnight, but the month can help you develop a much stronger relationship with money. You may become more aware of where your resources are going and more interested in building stability rather than chasing temporary excitement. If you receive extra money, a payment, a new income opportunity, or an offer connected to your work, think carefully before deciding how to use it. The strongest financial decisions this month are likely to be the ones that seem boring but create long-term security. You may discover that a small change in your spending habits can make a surprisingly large difference over time. At the same time, be cautious with offers that promise fast results without clear details. Read everything carefully, ask questions, and never let excitement replace common sense. August is teaching you that financial confidence does not come from having unlimited money. It comes from knowing how to manage what you have. Around the middle of the month, you may experience a noticeable change in your mindset. A situation that confused you at the beginning of August may suddenly become easier to understand. The answer may not arrive because someone explains everything to you. Instead, you may simply realize that you have been asking the wrong question. Perhaps you have been asking whether someone will choose you when you should have been asking whether they deserve a place in your life. Perhaps you have been asking whether you can succeed when you should have been asking what you need to change in order to succeed. Perhaps you have been waiting for an opportunity when you could have been creating one yourself. This shift in perspective can become one of the most powerful developments of the month. The new moon around August 12th symbolizes a fresh beginning, and for you this can be an excellent moment to set a new intention for the next chapter of your life. But make your intentions meaningful. Do not simply wish for more money, more attention, or more success. Ask yourself what kind of life you actually want to wake up to every morning. What kind of work would make you feel proud? What kind of relationship would make you feel respected? What kind of friendships would give you energy instead of taking it away? What kind of person do you want to become when nobody is watching? These questions may lead you toward changes that are deeper than anything you originally planned. Love becomes increasingly important as August progresses. If you are already in a relationship, there may be conversations that can no longer be postponed. Topics involving trust, future plans, money, responsibilities, family, emotional needs, or commitment may finally come to the surface. At first, this could feel uncomfortable, but discomfort is not automatically a bad sign. Sometimes honesty feels uncomfortable simply because it has been missing for too long. If both partners are willing to listen rather than defend themselves, these conversations can create a much deeper connection. You may discover that your partner has been carrying fears or expectations that they never knew how to express. You may also find yourself finally saying something you have kept inside for a long time. But August can also reveal emotional imbalance. If you have been the person who always apologizes, initiates conversations, solves problems, forgives, or tries to keep the relationship alive, you may begin to question whether the connection is truly balanced. That realization may hurt, but it can also be liberating. A relationship should not require one person to carry the entire emotional weight. If you are single, August can bring a romantic connection that develops in an unexpected way. You may meet someone through work, friends, social activities, online communication, or a completely ordinary situation. The person may not immediately look like the kind of person you imagined yourself being attracted to, and that is exactly what makes the connection interesting. It could begin with a simple conversation, a shared joke, or a small moment that seems meaningless at first but stays in your mind afterward. You may find yourself wondering why you keep thinking about this person. Give the connection time. Do not rush to call it destiny. Watch their actions. Notice how they communicate when they are not trying to impress you. Notice whether they respect your boundaries and whether their behavior matches their words. Attraction can be immediate, but trust must be earned. August encourages you to choose consistency over intensity. Your social circle may also undergo a quiet transformation. You may become less interested in spending time with people who constantly bring drama, competition, negativity, or confusion into your life. At the same time, new people may appear who encourage you to think bigger. A new friendship could begin through work, a shared interest, a social gathering, or an unexpected introduction. Someone you barely know may say something that changes how you look at your future. Not every new person is destined to stay, but some people enter our lives at precisely the moment we need a different perspective. Think of them as bridges between chapters. They may not walk the entire road with you, but they may help you cross a part of it that you could not cross alone. Your emotional and psychological world is undergoing one of the deepest transformations of the month. You may notice that your reactions are changing. Something that once would have made you angry may now make you pause. Something that once made you desperate for someone's approval may no longer matter. You may become more protective of your peace and more selective about what deserves your attention. This is not emotional distance. It is emotional maturity. You are beginning to understand that not every battle deserves your energy. Some arguments are simply traps that lead nowhere. Some people will misunderstand you no matter how clearly you explain yourself. Some situations cannot be controlled. And when you accept that, you create room for something much more valuable, peace. Around August 20th, the first quarter moon marks another important stage in the month. Something that has been developing may require action. You could be faced with a decision involving work, money, love, or your personal future. This is where hesitation may become more uncomfortable than movement. You do not need to know exactly how everything will turn out. You only need to understand enough to make the next responsible decision. Courage does not mean acting without thinking. Courage means thinking carefully and still having the strength to move forward. If an opportunity has been growing quietly since the beginning of August, this may be the moment to take it more seriously. The days around August 21st can also bring meaningful communication. A message, invitation, meeting, phone call, or unexpected conversation may change your understanding of a situation. Something that appears ordinary could contain information that becomes important later. If someone from your past contacts you, do not automatically assume that you are supposed to return to the old situation. Sometimes the past comes back not to be repeated, but to show you how much you have changed. You may realize that something that once controlled your emotions no longer has the same power. You may hear familiar words and discover that they no longer affect you in the same way. That is one of the clearest signs that you have grown. As the final week approaches, you may begin to redefine your priorities. Things that once seemed extremely important may suddenly feel less meaningful. You may choose stability over uncertainty, peace over conflict, authenticity over approval, and long-term growth over temporary excitement. These are not small changes. They can influence the way you spend your money, choose your friends, approach your career, and respond to romantic situations. You may even surprise people who have known you for a long time because they expect the old version of you to respond in the old way. But you are not obligated to remain predictable simply because people became comfortable with who you used to be. August 28th brings the full moon, and this can become one of the most revealing moments of the month. Something that has been hidden or developing quietly may finally become visible. A relationship may reach an important emotional conclusion. A career matter may become clearer. A financial situation may require a decision. A personal realization may finally become impossible to ignore. You may not receive the answer you wanted, but you may receive the answer you needed. And there is a powerful difference between those two things. The answer you want may keep you comfortable for a moment. The answer you need can change your life. The final days of August may feel calmer. You may look back and realize that you have changed more than you expected. Perhaps you no longer feel the same urgency. Perhaps you have stopped waiting for someone else's approval. Perhaps you finally understand why a certain opportunity disappeared. Perhaps you have decided to stop giving your energy to something that constantly drains you. Or perhaps you have found a new reason to believe in a goal you almost abandoned. Whatever the change is, it may feel less dramatic than you imagined. Real transformation often happens quietly. It happens when you make one different decision, then another and another until your life begins to look different. Your energy throughout August needs protection. Aries, you are naturally capable of pushing yourself beyond your limits. But this month reminds you that rest is not weakness. Your mind needs space. Your emotions need time to settle. If you constantly force yourself to be productive, strong, available, and positive, you may eventually lose touch with what you actually need. Give yourself permission to step away. Spend time alone when necessary. Reduce unnecessary arguments. Be selective about the people you allow close to you. Your energy is precious, and August teaches you to spend it where it can create something meaningful. There is also a hidden lesson concerning your past. You may spend time thinking about something you wish you had done differently. You may wonder what your life would look like if you had accepted another opportunity, trusted another person, stayed somewhere longer, or left sooner. But August does not want you trapped inside imaginary versions of your life. The past can teach you, but it cannot be lived again. You cannot change the road behind you, but you can choose what direction you take from here. The person who made those previous decisions did the best they could with the information they had at that time. You have more information now. Use it. Your strongest periods of August come around August 12th for new intentions and personal resets, August 20th and 21st for decisions and communication, and August 28th for emotional clarity and important revelations. The more cautious periods are the moments when emotions become stronger than logic. If you feel extremely angry, frightened, or excited, give yourself time before making a permanent decision. A temporary emotion should not be allowed to control a permanent future. Aries, August 2026 may bring opportunities, challenges, emotional revelations, financial lessons, career decisions, new connections, and unfinished business from the past. But the most important event may not be something that happens outside you. It may be the moment you finally understand that you do not want the same life you once wanted. And there is nothing wrong with that. People change. Dreams change. Priorities change. You are allowed to grow beyond an old identity. Do not chase every door that opens this month. Some doors are distractions. Some are lessons. Some are tests of patience. And some are exactly the doors you have been preparing to walk through for years. Learn to recognize the difference. Pause before reacting. Observe before trusting. Plan before spending. Listen before answering. And when the moment comes to choose, do not allow fear to make the decision for you. You may begin August with questions about your future, your money, your career, your relationships, or your own identity. But as the month progresses, those questions begin to transform. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" You stop asking, "Will this person choose me?" and begin asking, "Is this relationship healthy for me?" You stop asking, "When will my opportunity arrive?" and begin asking, "What can I build with what I already have?" That is the real transformation of August. You are not becoming someone completely different. You are becoming more honest about who you already are. So when the month finally comes to an end, remember this, Aries. You do not need to have every answer. You do not need to know every turn in the road. You do not need everyone to understand your choices. You only need enough courage to take the next meaningful step. Some things will leave. Let them. Some people will change. Let them reveal themselves. Some opportunities will disappear. Do not chase everything that runs away. And when something genuine arrives, something that brings growth, respect, stability, and purpose, do not let the fear of the unfamiliar stop you. Because August 2026 is not simply closing one chapter for you. It is teaching you how to choose the next one. The future is not asking you to become fearless. It is asking you to move forward even when you are not completely certain. And Aries, sometimes the greatest sign that your life is changing is not that everything suddenly becomes easy. It is that you finally become strong enough to choose what is right for you. August may begin with uncertainty. It may challenge your patience. It may bring back old questions. It may reveal uncomfortable truths. But it can also give you something priceless. The courage to stop living according to the past and start making decisions for the person you are becoming. Your next chapter does not need permission. It needs your choice. And this August, Aries, the choice is finally yours.